Leather was cold on my skin as the automobile bounced. Malik pulled me closer with his warm, shaky breath and hands on my waist. Though the windows fogged and the outside world faded, we weren't alone. Someone may have seen, and that increased my desire. Be sure to like and subscribe before we begin. It boosts the channel. I appreciate your presence. If you've done that, let's begin. The night air pierced my hot skin as the door slammed behind me. I breathed quickly and shallow. My hands trembled as I hugged myself. He ignored my discomfort, insisting everything was fine. My stomach knotted at the thought of his tight grip, hot breath against my skin, pushing where I didn't want him. After I shoved him away, he sounded frustrated, like I was the problem and had damaged something. I inhaled sharply and swiped my face before pulling my phone from my pocket. Tonight, I wasn't at that house. Ride-ordered driver arrived in 2 minutes. Fine, I needed air. I needed room. I needed to think clearly before doing something irreversible. A beautiful black automobile pulls up to the curb with headlights. I pushed open the door and slid inside, my pulse still racing. The door closed. Car idled briefly before moving onward. My exhalation was harsh everywhere else. Streetlights flashed as the automobile accelerated. I inhaled slowly, arms crossed, frustration still burning. Rough night, deep, silky voice. I scarcely looked. You could say that. When I looked in the rearview mirror, I gasped. Malik, I recognized that face. After years. More powerful, crisper. He quietly lusted after me in high school, never acting, though I knew I wanted someone else. Now he was driving me away from my night of tragedy. Remember me? He glanced at me in the mirror. I reclined, arms folded. Yes, I remember. A modest tightening of the wheel grip. Yeah, I never got your attention. Then smirked. Never tried. He laughed low. And knowing wouldn't matter. You were eyeing someone else. I remained silent. Long quiet thickened the air. Tonight, my frustration went beyond my husband. About me, about my decisions. What I desired. The things I denied myself. I looked back at Malik. How his voice grew more serious. His hands tightening on the wheel. He watched me. My seat shifted as I inhaled slowly. Cool leather on my thighs. I need air, a murmur. Stop. His brow raised. You sure? I nodded. A turn signal clicked. I looked around as we stopped in a dimly lit lot. The street was deserted. A wavering street lamp illuminated a parked automobile in the distance. Not alone. Not exactly. Risk weighed on me for a moment. My elbows rested on the center console as I leaned forward, near enough to smell his fragrance. I never denied interest. A murmur, you never tried. His jaw tightened, fingers wrapped over the wheel. The air between us altered instantly. Malik was silent for a moment. Flexing his knuckles, he grabbed the wheel. Finally, he grinned. So what, you believe I should have tried harder? I did a leisurely idle pattern on the leather seat. Maybe, he laughed softly, shaking his head. That's crazy. You pretended I didn't exist. I cocked my head at him. That's false. Skepticism crossed his face, biting my lip. My irritation changed. Something crisp and deliberate. Why shouldn't I breach boundaries if my husband does? I slowly stretched, shifting to draw his attention. I teasingly thought. What would you have done if you tried then? He tightened his wheel grip. Want to hear my high school fantasies? I grin. Why not? I need a distraction. The tongue ran along his teeth as he exhaled. His chest grew heavy. He added, I would have pulled you somewhere quiet. Lowering his voice, from everyone. I had you to myself. Raised eyebrow. Only that. kinda mild. His darker stare met mine. I'd start there. My stomach coiled with heat. It went beyond words, I sensed it. He meant it, how he envisioned it. I reclined back carefully, crossing my knees, watching his gaze flicker lower before springing up. "Now what's stopping you?" I asked calmly, jaw constricted. "Tell me." Air thickened. The road ahead was vacant and dark. I leaned down and breathed warmly against his ear. "Pull over," I said. He gripped the wheel. "Kindly request." My lips coiled. "Please," blinker clicked. Car slowed. Street was silent. We weren't alone. I didn't overthink. No. Pause. No hesitation, I moved. Car interior was cramped. I didn't care. I climbed over the center console and straddled his lap, feeling his warmth through his clothes, from my knees on the seat. Dark but not entirely obscured windows. The dashboard was illuminated by a distant street lamp. An idling automobile engine hummed nearby, parking waiting for a call or lingering. Malik hesitated, a sharp intake of breath breaking the silence. His hands hung at my waist, hesitating, waiting for permission. Leaning in, my lips touched his earshell. "You wanted this then, right?" His fingers twitched. "Yeah." His voice was harsh and low. "Still do." I needed nothing else. I leaned in, our faces close, sharing a quiet moment. His soft, eager lips parted against me as his restraint broke. He gripped my hips tightly, drawing me closer until I could feel his want. Outside the night was quiet, but not empty. I was excited by every touch of Malik's, because of him, where we were and the risk. The car felt smaller, the air hot, and everything unsaid weighed on us. Every movement sent sparks through me, the friction intolerable. The strain rising rapidly, Malik groaned, gripping tighter. "Backseat," he mumbled. Smirked. "Not enough space." Outside movement flickers. Was it my imagination? Shadows under streetlights dissipate quickly. I cared not. He inhaled loudly as I slipped off his lap. Sat in the back and hooked a finger at him. "Come on." Without hesitation, he followed. I knew this was unstoppable when he was between my legs, hands on my thighs, body crushing against mine. I pulled on his shirt, feeling the taut muscles from holding back. My heart raced as his lips caressed my collarbone. The car briefly rattled, reminding us we were visible. Malik smiled under my skin, his voice husky. Like that, I remained silent. Not necessary. Fogged windows. Thick charged air, panting breaths, and stifled murmurs filled the space. It was wild and risky, but I'd never felt more alive. Malik gripped my thighs tightly and pushed me closer, pulling me against the cool leather back seat. The tension between us grew stronger, filling the small space. Now there was no hesitation. Once more, his harsher, hungrier lips touched mine. I felt the restriction break as his hands explored and claimed my body. I pulled him closer with my fingers in his back of the head. I tasted the fire that had been burning between us since I got in his car. Maybe the outside world existed, but that improved it. The tiny space forced together, locking our bodies in a frenzied beat. His warmth against the cold leather made me shudder. He pushed me where he wanted me with his hands, grabbing my hips and flexing his fingers. He kissed my throat and I gasped. His breath was hot against my skin, and every kiss and tooth scratch sent yearning waves through me. Then outside, a sound. Car passing. Malik paused his heavy breathing on my skin. I grin. Never quit. He growled low and gruff, tightening his hold tighter and more urgently. He whispered, "Been wanting this for a long time." His voice raspy and desireful. I felt a pleasure, my claws dragging down his back. "Then take it," I whisper. "Take me whole." His hands tightened, almost possessive. His hands gained confidence and demanded touch. I leaned into him, feeling his body pressing into me, like we had done this before, like we were meant to. Our automobile rocked somewhat as we moved, fast-building heat dizzying, unstoppable. A distant road glow reminded me of our vulnerability. My pulse jumped. Malik felt it. "Damn!" He breathed on me, his voice ruined, his fingers tighter on my hips, intoxicated by risk. I groaned as the pressure tightened, the friction intolerable, and every action drove me higher and sharper. I jumped again at the notion of being caught of someone walking too close, arching my body and craving more. Malik murmured, pressing his forehead against mine. "Frantic, you sense," he muttered. Gasping, so damn amazing words sent me plummeting. A rush of overwhelming emotions swept through me. As everything broke, my back arched, and I clutched onto him instinctively. Malik followed seconds later, tightening his grip, trembling against mine and gasping unevenly. We stayed still, bodies intertwined, skin moist, pulses rushing for a long time. Someone smashed a door far away, a reminder that life existed outside this automobile. Though my fingers were still on his neck, I sighed, feeling his heartbeat racing. The windows were fogged, and sweat and satisfaction filled the air. Malik laughed rough, dragging a hand down his face before looking at me. "You didn't expect that when you entered," murmured, smiling. I stretched lazily against the seat, still feeling the exquisite pain between my thighs. Regaining my breath, I said, "No, I'm not upset." Exhaling, he shook his head and leaned back, his fingers still on my waist. The night was quiet outside. We weren't inside, except for our irregular charged breaths. The automobile was quiet. I felt the heat of what we'd done on my skin, a slow pulsating reminder that I had crossed a line I didn't want to erase. I adjusted my dress, but Malik's hands had grabbed me, and I needed him. Then Malik glanced at me, his fingers lightly tapping the wheel, unreadable, yet weighted with something unspoken. "You going home?" Though his speech was calm, the tension between us was strong and palpable. I looked out of the window at the black roadway ahead. Home, returning to my husband. Returning meant pretending I pretended not to be angry. Pretending I didn't let another man have me, like my spouse couldn't. I wasn't returning. Turning to Malik, my lips curled. "Show me your home." Not all temptations can be resisted. Some risks make the moment more memorable. Would you have stopped? Would you have let the thrill take over like I did? I want to hear all your opinions in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and enable notifications if you liked this. You won't want to miss next. See you shortly.